When I say condo insurance, I'm going to be talking for an investor. And an investor should have what they call a dwelling fire policy. It's the same thing, you can call it a landlord's policy, whatever it is that you want. And we're going to talk about it regarding condos. Hi, I'm Jarrett Lau, the founder of Green Ocean Property Management. In today's message, I'm going to be talking about the different types of insurance that's going to be available. And of course, there's different types of insurance for every type of building. So you'll have condo policies, single family policies, multifamily policies, and even commercial. But in today's message, we're going to focus specifically on condo insurance. So one of the biggest misconceptions that I see with a lot of newer investors is that they buy a condo and they say, oh, there's a master policy, I don't have to worry about this, I'm covered. And sure, the master policy will cover a certain extent, but there's a few different things that you should be aware of. First and foremost is the deductible of your master policy. The master policy and the condo association does not want you to make claims. And in order to mitigate that, what they're going to do is that they're going to increase the deductible amount. So it's $5,000 or $10,000. I've seen it as high as $20,000. What that means is that there has to be a loss up to that amount for it to kick in. So that means you're responsible for the first $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 worth of loss. So imagine something happens in your unit, you want to make a claim, and it's a $6,000 loss. What happens? You pay for it. Instead of that, what you'll do is you'll get this dwelling fire policy, and that dwelling fire policy will have a much lower deductible of either $250 or $500. And let's just pretend, again, the master policy deductible is $10,000. What you'll do is you'll only pay for the first $250 or $500, depending upon your deductible, and that policy will cover the rest. That's really what you're buying the policy for. The next thing that we want to talk about is whether the master policy is considered an all-in policy or not. All-in really means it does cover everything inside of the property. It might be your cabinets, things of that nature. What you have to be aware of though is that it might not include your improvements. So if you just did a major renovation, did all these things, have all these fancy things, you might not be covered for that. That's where again, a condo policy will, or your dwelling fire policy will help cover that aspect of it. They might only cover originally what the building was like 60 years ago. Just be aware of that aspect as well. Another huge thing, and really it's why it's called a dwelling fire landlord policy, is it covers something called loss of rents. And this is nothing that will cover by your master policy. What loss of rents is if you have a loss, say as a flood or a fire, and your tenants are displaced, unable to live in the unit, that insurance policy will cover your rent. It'll be the rent that you deducted to be. So if you adjust it to be, let's say your rent is $2,000, I go based upon 12 months, so my loss of rent that I asked for on my policy is $24,000. They will pay $2,000 until you find a new tenant, until the place is replaced. It doesn't matter, up to $25,000. So that gives you a year to replace and fix your apartment and get someone back in there, which is a fantastic thing. Imagine if you're a landlord and you had a flood or a fire and you still have your mortgage, you still have your condo fees, you still have your taxes, but your tenants had to move out and you have nothing protecting you. Well, now your dwelling fire policy will cover that with a loss of rent. In addition with that, you'll have something called tenant displacement. Tenant will have to move out and they're going to be mad at you, I mean, regardless of why, and they're going to say, hey, well, are you going to pay for me to be able to move? That dwelling fire policy will typically cover up to $750 of that as well, which is really nice. So just need to save receipts. So again, this is in the property management message. We were covering insurance policies, condo policies specifically, and how it'll protect you and the differences between that and a master policy. I hope that helps you figure out how to be a little bit more protected. If you have any additional questions, feel free to reach out. And with Green Ocean Property Management, you get more than a property manager, you get peace of mind.